everyone, I'm Jeffrey and welcome to the Busted Bear Productions All Things TV podcast. Today we are diving into the extensive history of broadcast news. Buckle up for an enlightening journey as we start from the roots of it in network radio, walk through the challenges, numerous technological revolutions, impact of world events on its evolution, and the seismic shifts in the industry, taking us right up to the modern-day scenario. Let's begin with the earliest period. Born of network radio, television news in the United States started with the National Broadcasting Company, NBC, in 1926, and CBS signing on in September 1927. Initially, both networks focused on events and matters of public concern, such as political conventions, election results, and presidential inaugurations. But did you know that there was a full-blown press radio war that can be considered as the reactor where broadcast journalism was truly born? Interesting, right? In its early days, broadcast journalism was shaped by newspaper publishers who tried to eradicate news on radio. The Associated Press, for instance, asked its newspaper members to stop letting radio stations use their stories in 1922. Ultimately, the broadcast industry triumphed over this embargo, paving the way for the monumental growth we see today. From radio, the next step was television. CBS and NBC launched their commercial TV stations in 1941. Television was gung-ho for its full-scale launch, but the demands of the war kept the new medium at rest until 1945. Then followed the formation of television networks, the first news programming, the emergence and exodus of several other networks. However, the growth of network television news was hindered temporarily by the FCC's decision to freeze new TV licenses between 1948 and 1952. Despite this halt, the medium was continually evolving, testing waters, developing techniques to improve broadcasts. The 1950s and 60s were a golden era for television news. During this span, the inflection point arrived when television got the power to transmit live news. This factor in particular was a defining moment that hinted at the undeniable edge that television news was developing over print media. The historical moments that television covered live during this period, such as the assassinations of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., Robert Kennedy, the resignation of President Richard Nixon, the American struggle in Vietnam and their exploration of space, further solidified the medium. Indeed, it was almost impossible to imagine public life or public discussion without television's version of the news. In sync with technology, TV news saw another revolution when they switched to videotaping of events. Tape was closing the gap between the time a story was shot and when it could be shown on air. This evolution also further cemented the position of television as a now medium. As we stepped into the new millennium, the three major network news organizations, along with CNN, continued to hold a position of extraordinary prominence in the public life of the United States. However, they faced a major impact from cable and independent local stations, which led to corporate turbulence and strategic changes. Despite these challenges, they successfully covered massive global events, became major content creators producing various primetime programs, and even made a foray into the digital frontier by setting up alliances for direct satellite broadcasting, cable programming, interactive media ventures, and more. In a nutshell, the life of broadcast news has been a roller coaster ride, punctuated by highs of coverage and technology and lows of institutional challenges and financial pressures. The faces presenting the news have changed, and the technology, as we've journeyed from radio to television to cable TV, has advanced. But broadcast news remains a central pillar of contemporary life. On that note, folks, we've reached the end of this episode's exploration of the history of broadcast news. This was yet another stimulating journey in the world of TV. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes. And that's a wrap. This is Jeffrey from Busted Bear Productions All Things TV podcast. Don't forget to check the show notes for any links or articles mentioned in today's walkthrough of history. Send us a message, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep watching.